Welcome back to the Brent Bruce Daily, where each day we take a look and see where home loan interest rates really are, what is making the move, and what to expect for the future. Today is June the 26th, 2023. It's about 3:15 p.m. Central Time. Bond market and mortgage-backed securities are still trading for the day. Pretty slow day, pretty standard. We're going to take a look at the charts here in just a minute, but not a whole lot going on because we have something coming out later on the week here. On Friday, the 30th, we're going to get the personal consumption expenditures report, which is actually the Federal Reserve's favorite measure of inflation. I always talk about the number one thing we want to know is what's going on with the Fed and the movements in the federal funds rate. Number two is the PCE, the Personal Consumption Expenditure Report, which is coming out this Friday. Number three is the Consumer Price Index. And then number four, the Producer Price Index. And unfortunately, like we've been talking about all year, the one that I don't usually talk about that seems to be really directing home loan interest rates is the employment numbers and what's going on with job gains. So that's something that we have to pay attention to as well. We get that on the first Friday of every month, the big BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics employment numbers. So one thing I want to go over here, a lot of people look at the Brent Bruce Daily and they say, oh, I like to see what the interest rates are, where the interest rates are. But you need to understand a couple of different things here that I want to make sure that I point out. Number one, I'm going to go through this quickly here. Number one is the problem that we're having right now in getting homes sold is that interest rates are up. It's not that prices are up, okay? The prices were already up. Would you be okay if the prices stayed exactly where they were, but the interest rates dropped back down to 3? You probably would. Okay, so it's not necessarily the home prices weren't really the culprit here. They don't help, but it's the interest rates climbing up because of the fight with inflation. All right, so you should go back and look at all my videos if you don't know what I'm talking about. So the fact that interest rates came up is where you have this clash between high prices, higher rates, and now your monthly payment is something that is uncomfortable for your buyer. Okay, so we all know that that's what's going on. So if that is the case, you have to deal with what you have. Home prices are not probably going to come down. There is very little reason for home prices to come down because there is a thing called supply and demand, and we don't have enough supply. We have not enough supply, tremendous demand, prices should not be coming down. Even with the higher interest rates, we still have a ton of demand, okay? In the back, behind the demand, I haven't talked about this a lot, behind the demand is something different. There's a different D, desire. So the desire is tremendous. I mean, the depth of the desire pool, I mean, think about how many people do you know that want to buy a house, but they're not really demand because they're saying, well, the payment's too high. So they drop out of the demand pool and they drop back into the desire pool. So if anything happens where home prices come down a little bit or interest rates come down a little bit, the desire pool raises up to the demand pool. So the demand pool is really just the front. It's just the tip of the iceberg. And it's the desire pool that's underneath, which is where you just really aren't going to see home prices come down, especially because interest rates are going to come down. They're going to come down here in the near future. So if you're dealing with these things that they are what they are, the first thing that you can control is if you can get a lower interest rate for your client, you need to go get a lower interest rate for your client, or you need to lead them into that direction. There is no sense right now in complaining about not being able to do transactions and then sending your referrals to people that have high rates. You're just pushing them further away from the demand back to the desire because they're thinking that that is really what home loan interest rates are. If you're well qualified, interest rates are not in the 7s. They're in the 6s. Okay, so I want to point that out. If you're not going to use me, use somebody else, but you should not be offering too high of interest rates. They need to come down. Okay, my competitors need to bring their rates down. All right, that's number one. Number two is you need to work with somebody who knows how to talk to a buyer and work with them to structure transactions and sellers. Okay, I'm not doing business right now by throwing out my rates and just waiting to see what happens. And my rates are way lower than everyone else's. You know that. It's not my rates alone that I'm doing business with. It's that I know how to structure transactions. There are times when I'm spending time with the seller of a home. Why would I talk to a seller? Not about their next buy, about how to get their home sold by working with the seller to create a financing structure that will help buyers go from desire to demand to in contract. You need to work with people that are on the lending side that know what this means and know how to do it. Don't want to use me? Don't use me. But there are lenders out there that will help you sell more houses if they are true pros. Let's take a look and see where the market is right now. All right, so here we are. We're currently up 3 basis points on the mortgage-backed security. They're down 2 on the 10-year Treasury. So, not a lot of move either way, but the little move that we have are both good. Up on the MBS, down on the 10-year. Okay, so good news here. Over here, we are, fortunately on our MBS chart, we're above the 25-day moving average and this Fibonacci level, a dual floor of support underneath us. As we get ready, probably not going to see a whole lot of movement this week ahead of the personal consumption expenditures report that is coming out here Friday, June 30th. You can see this right here coming out here. Last report. So this June report is the report for May. Okay, it comes out in June for May. It's the previous month. The last report that came out in May was for April. Okay, and that was at 4.4. So let's quickly look at the trend. Okay, 5.4 in Jan, 5.1 in Feb, down. March was 4.2, down a lot. But then April was 4.4. We kind of dipped back up a little bit. And of course, the media and everyone went crazy. Home loan interest rates didn't like to see that. But look where we were from January, down a full percent, right? So we do think that we're going to see the next report that comes out. So we're going to get this report in June. It's going to be for May, that we're going to see it lower than 4.4. We think we're going to see that. We'll see. We know that not everything that we've been expecting has been occurring. So that's what's coming out here. That's when we're going to see a little bit of changes and movement. And that's what I think the market is really getting ready for. Let's look and see where home loan interest rates really are at this moment. I'm going to run the interest rates right now for the Brent Bruce Daily, the very well qualified 30-year fixed conventional 800 FICO score, 25% down, primary residence. Okay, perfect client sitting at 6.875. Once again, does that say 7? It doesn't. Doesn't say 7.25. Doesn't say 7.5. Doesn't say 7.3. 875. It says 6.875. Okay, so just keep that in mind. This is what should be available for a very well qualified client with a 25% down. All right. If not, you got the wrong lender. Let's take a look, see what's going on here for a little bit. If they want to buy a little bit down here, we always like to take a look at United Wholesale and how they're treating their 5.999, currently at 1.869. So for under 2 points, you can get to 5.999. For about a point, a little under a point, you're at 6.5. Okay, so that's something that we can take a look at, whether the seller wants to maybe pay a point. Again, that comes back around to structuring. We're currently putting together transactions that we're able to offer below 5.999 with the structuring that we're putting together. So just keep that in mind. If you have any questions, make sure to give me a call and we can talk further about that. This is the scenario that we're taking a look at here. These are the parameters that we always like to take a look and make sure that we're in compliance. If anyone has any questions or wants to talk more about what I was just talking about with structuring or making sure that you have the better home loan interest rates that are available out there, don't just stick with what you've been with, because if they're charging higher than they need to, man, it's making it tough to sell a house right now. Let me know if I can help. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell up in the top corner. Thanks for watching.